Together, we gather as one voice here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And that is exactly what terrifies the jackbooted thugs and political hacks that think they own this nation and treat its citizens like slaves.
Denn die Idee und die Bewegung sind Lebensausdruck unseres Volkes und damit ein Symbol des Ewigen. Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung! Es lebe Deutschland! Die Partei ist Hitler! Hitler aber ist Deutschland, wie Deutschland Hitler ist! Hitler, Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg
Hi, Pastor George here from My Guns and My Religion. Today we're going to be talking about Erie, Pennsylvania, a town where crime goes ignored and honest citizens are harassed. I was asked to speak on June 22nd at Perry Square by Justin Dillon of Open Carry, Pennsylvania. They were going to hold a rally in support of the Second Amendment rights granted to us under the Constitution of the United States. As we approached the park, this group of individuals was out drinking and carousing. One of these gentlemen approached one of the other speakers that day, Mr. Bruce Gold from Constitutional Security Force of Bucks County. Bruce wears a custom-made dog tag around his neck, and this gentleman seemed to take a little bit of umbrage to the fact that he had a dog tag on and Bruce didn't serve in the military. Bruce told him, I never said that I served in the military, and showed him what was written on the dog tag. It was some sort of an identification thing. And this gentleman started to threaten Bruce with bodily harm. Said that he had a gun. Matter of fact, he said he had a .45. Went back to the gazebo and started going like this in our general direction. Sadly, I don't have that on tape. We immediately called the Erie Police Department. After 20 minutes, they had still not shown up. Let's hear the reaction to that really long period of time from Gilberton Police Chief Mark Kessler.
Yeah,
What did you see, Chief?
A bunch of drunkards up there harassing everybody.
And what would the result be if they'd done that in Gilberton Borough?
Be arrested.
Yeah?
Yeah. Public drunkenness, disorderly conduct, terroristic threats.
So you have argument with the way
I called them 20 minutes ago and nobody showed up yet.
how far is the police department from here, do you know?
100 yards maybe?
That's a heck of a response time, isn't it?
Apparently.
That's right. 24 minutes to make a 100-yard walk from the police station. This is what happened when the police finally showed up.
You guys gotta move.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Time to go, guys. Let's go. Time to go. Time for us to slide. Time for us to slide. Come on, Mike. You gotta go.
This is a fellow that I like to call Booze Bottle. He was the leader. He was the one who made the threat to Bruce Gold. And if you notice right here, he's carrying what appears to be an open, nearly drank, full, that's looks like a 2-liter bottle of vodka. Now, my understanding is that Erie has an open container law, and what he did there was a sure violation in addition to his terroristic threats.
So, open container, drunk and disorderly, terroristic threats, and the only thing that's said is, move along, we have important business. Shortly thereafter, the Open Carry Pennsylvania folks and whoever was there supporting them entered the park, and this is how we were greeted by the police department.
Gentlemen with handguns, rifles, stand outside on the sidewalk. You're in violation of the city ordinance if you bring weapons into the park area here.
Please be advised, I represent all these people, Attorney Joshua.
Okay, you do know your violations. Stay on the outside sidewalk, would be fine. And anybody wearing a handgun on the inside of the park, you're in violation.
Does that include you? There are no exceptions for law enforcement officers. What are you doing in this park?
Enforcing the ordinance.
We're going to...
Leave your arms outside.
You've already violated it.
I'm a sworn police officer.
Does not matter.
Where do you sign?
Would you gentlemen care to produce identification?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Stay safe.
Anybody like to produce identification?
Anybody?
Anybody that's carrying a firearm would like to produce identification?
Take that as a no?
You asked the question. I've already informed you that they are represented. They have nothing to say. They've been invoked their Fifth Amendment.
Joshua Prince identifies himself as the attorney for everybody there. Take note that he had said that everybody there was exercising their Fifth Amendment rights. And at that point, the police had no right to ask anybody for identification. They were going to do something different. Let's talk about the real problem in Erie, Pennsylvania. Erie, Pennsylvania passes an ordinance saying that you cannot carry a firearm, a BB gun, pellet gun, airsoft gun, paintball gun, I don't know, maybe even a slingshot, bow and arrow. That is completely against the law. Now, their stated purpose on this was to prevent hunting in Perry Square. Now, I don't know anybody who really goes hunting in a 4-block open area in the middle of a city, but I suppose that you could pass an ordinance that says that you can't go hunting in the park. And that certainly is legal. And in fact, where it's located, because of the distances between where the roads are, even if it was allowed, the state game laws wouldn't allow for it. So it's a redundant law. The law would also remain silent on things like airsoft guns, BB guns, the paintball thing, probably bows and arrows, slingshots. The law remains very silent on this. However, when they talked about firearms, that's where they ran afoul. This is Title 18 of the Pennsylvania Crimes Codes. Article 6120, limitation on the regulation of firearms and ammunition. A, general rule. No county, municipality, or township may in any manner regulate the lawful ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation of firearms, ammunition, or ammunition components when carried or transported for purposes not prohibited by the laws of this Commonwealth. In other words, Erie passed the law regulating firearms and where you could have them, and the state says that they can't pass a law like that. Again, let's remember that our attorney, Joshua Prince, had just stated that everybody there was represented by him and that they were exercising their Fifth Amendment rights. Let's take a look at another clip where we go and ask the police who they are.
Officers, can I get your names and badge numbers, please? You decline to give badge numbers? Officers, you're required under the law to identify yourselves. We are requesting that you identify your names and badge numbers. I shouldn't have to.
What's that?
Sergeant Aaron Wassel, 295.
Thank you.
Corporal Christopher Janis, 355.
We need ID from everybody here, and then you'll get our ID.
That's not what the law says.
Where do you see that at?
Please state your name.
Where do you see that at? Where do you see that at? Show me.
Are you refusing to give us your name? Badge number?
We need IDs from everybody here. Are you refusing?
Are you refusing, sir?
Badge number is 340.
What's the name?
You don't need to know that. Badge number is 340. That's all I'm required to give you.
Okay, I gotta tell you, this guy, let's cut to a close-up of him. This guy was amazing. He showed up at what was going to be a test of an illegal law. Everybody knows that these Second Amendment rallies, nobody starts trouble, everybody's very polite. Everybody is, orderly. There's never been a real issue at one of these rallies, not at a pro-gun rally. And he shows up in a SWAT uniform. Now, I'm not a police tactics expert, but I always thought that a SWAT was a team, that there needed to be a whole lot of SWAT. Now, maybe there was a whole SWAT team out there. I don't know why on earth they thought they needed to have a SWAT team role to issue summary offenses, which are the equivalent of your dog peeing on the sidewalk. I don't know. But what I do know is that no place on that man's uniform was it evident what police department that he worked for, nor was his badge number plainly visible. We had, in fact, no real reason based on how long it took them to show up to believe that they were even really police officers. So we asked them who they were. They're required to tell you that before they start asking you any questions, because quite frankly, anybody could pretend to be a police officer. Anybody could go out and buy tactical gear. There's plenty of places online to do it. And by his demeanor and his general anger, seemed a little overblown. This is the perfect example of a jackbooted thug. They were going to use the JTAG system to take pictures of people and try to match their faces with, I don't know, driver's license records or something, facial recognition. And I guess that this officer, he thought he was being pretty slick, thinking that, the police were the only ones to have a way to find out when you have a copy of someone's face to find out who they were. Well, this is a big shout out to patrol. We had your name before your head hit the pillow that night. Let's take a look at the tactics that the police used. Rather than, walk up to people who were carrying firearms openly and actually handing them a summons, they went around photographing and videotaping people. They also took down the license plate numbers of every car in the area, having no idea whether or not those cars were involved with this event or not. Really? Take a look at the lady that's coming out of the fried fish joint, wondering why the policeman is taking down the license plate of her car. Folks, this is the exact example of a police state. These men acted and behaved like Nazis. This is the New World Order defined. This has now gone way beyond just a simple test case to see whether or not Erie could actually take and violate the Pennsylvania State Code. Whether they could violate the Pennsylvania State Constitution, which says that the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. No, they took it one step too far. I understand that the summonses have gone out. Well, Erie and police state New World Order, don't get your FEMA coffins emptied out just yet. Don't worry about the camps that you plan to put people in. We're fighting it already in the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and you already know that you have not given an adequate answer there. This story is not over. God bless you all, one and all. Keep your powder dry. Molen Labe.